Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon to one and all. Sir, this social welfare department is mandated to take care of socio-economic and educational development of SC community. Apart from giving equal or more attention to the social security and social justice to the community, so SC community. This slide briefly talks about insights on the education wing of the department. We got hostels and residentials put together 1240, and we have sanctioned strength of almost 2.35 lakh students. And admission so far happened only in confined to 1.97 lakhs. Still, the gap of some 38,000 is to be done, which is an actionable point to the collector, sir. And then coming to the academic performance, while the residential school performance is better than the state average, but the hostel students' performance is to be improvised to a great extent. Next, please. Next. Here it is. So this slide briefly talks about the different functions of the schemes with which the department will be dealing with. Department deals with the admissions, sir, and then the pre and post-metric scholarships, and apart from extending economic support schemes to the SC community. And then this is actually the milestones that were set for the department, and basing on the directions and guidance given by Honorable CM on 30th of last month while reviewing the department. And for achieving basically what sir has set a target to us is that academic excellence in SD welfare residentials cannot be comparable to the state level, but it should be comparable to the corporate level. That's so the meaning thereby that academic excellence in social welfare residential schools should be on par with the corporate schools. And for this, we'll be setting up state academic monitoring unit, sir, for the purpose of giving continuous guidance and then monitoring the academic performance of the students so that the performance of the students can be taken to the next level. And other important aspect which we are seeing as a gap area in the whole functioning of educational institutions in our department is the rationalization of the existing staff. So in fact, we have got more staff in some institutions where they don't really require, and less staff where they are really more required. So we are going to go for this rationalization of existing teaching as well as the non-teaching staff for the optimal utilization of the staff. And other important activity which the social welfare department takes up is taking up of infrastructure in the SC habitations, duly tying up the fund support under the SC subcomponent. This also is the key milestones which I thought we will be doing in the next 1 year. Another important thing on the livelihood front, sir, in fact, these economic support schemes to the SC community has been given a great go by. And then in the next 1 year, we are going to revive. And for this, actually, how we are going to align with the ongoing Government of India schemes, sir. These are the schemes which we should leverage for really taking care of the milestones that we have set in the next 1 year, sir. So the first important thing is the PM Ajay scheme, sir. In fact, it is very interesting to note that for the next 3 years, we have got 151 crores sanctioned by the Government of India. And this is for the purpose of income generation activities, up to 50,000 of subsidy or 50% of the unit cost, whichever is less can be given. Rest can be tied up with Unnati and other such schemes. So district level targets will be communicated very shortly to all the collectors. Another important scheme is Pradhana Mantri Adarsh Grama Yojana PMAGY, which is a 100% Government of India grant. So we have listed out all the villages having more than 40% of the SC population, which are actually qualified to get this kind of support under this scheme. And an amount to the tune of 20 lakhs can be given for gap filling component and dovetailing with other or converging with other schemes. We should really come up with the village development plans for developing an infrastructure in the SC area, sir. And other important proposals, sir, in fact, this is under active consideration. During the review by the Honorable CM on 30th, we made a request, in fact, if we can remit 3.06 crores to the Government of India, then we'll be getting around 206 crores for the purpose of constructing the 62 new hostels under the hostel components of PM Ajay, sir. And these are the interventions that we seek from the district collectors in the social welfare department. So which flows from the actually the milestone that we set in the last for the next 1 year. So the site selection for the 15 residential schools and then the 62 social welfare hostels, for which the fund support under the PM Ajay under active consideration. And other thing is that some minor repairs are to be carried out in all the hostels and then the residential schools, for which there are some best practice set up in some of the districts, which we request the collectors to replicate by tapping the fund support under district mineral fund or talking to the MPs for accessing the MP lad. Earmark funds also, in fact, will be getting from the Jilla Parishads and Mandal Parishad bodies. And more importantly, the CSR support also we can really tap. In fact, some of the collectors have really set precedents, so those can be replicated. And then more importantly, we have got almost, as I said, 38,000 vacancies are still to be filled. So we request the collectors to really take up the filling of the vacancies. Don't leave it to the welfare functionaries, but ensure that with the approval of the district administration, these vacancies are filled up. Otherwise, there are a lot of complaints which are coming up on the vacancy filling exercise. And then other thing is the post-metric scholarships, because we need to really take up as and when the government finalizes the guidelines for this. So the pendency of the Aadhaar linking and opening of the joint accounts to be cleared in next 2 weeks. And other important activity which is conventionally being done is that we have to regularly, once in 3 months, we have to conduct a district vigilance monitoring committees and then district monitoring committees for review implementation of the prevention of atrocities and protection of civil rights, and then the manual scavenging act and all. So that I request the collectors to really do meticulously and without fail. And Civil Rights Day also need to be observed on the last day of every month in the vulnerable SC habitations in all the mandals. And more importantly, for rejuvenating and then activating the SC corporation functioning, we request you to really focus on the recovery of the loan so that we'll be getting continuous loan support from the NSFDC and NSKFDC. And more importantly, as I said in the previous slide, identify all the SC eligible women beneficiaries under PM Ajay. In next 15 days time, we'll be sending a targets to you, maybe next 2 days time, and ensure that village development plans are prepared and approved by the district committee for tapping fund under PM AJY. This is what is expected from the collectors in case of the social welfare department functioning. With if the sir permits, we'll move on to the tribal welfare, sir. So these are the important socio-economic indicators pertaining to the tribal areas. In fact, these are very important because this becomes basis for the preparation of plans for filling the gaps that are noticed under various parameters. So on the livelihood front, sir, in fact, in the review also you talked about per capita income of the tribal. Where are they really placed vis-a-vis what is that AP average and then the national average. So the AP average is almost 2.19 lakh per capita per year, sir. And then when it comes to the national, it is 1.72 lakhs. And in the case of tribals, it is 1.37. Especially, in fact, there is no special what is that way by which tribals income or per capita income is assessed. But we have taken the this ASR districts, which has got more than 90% tribal population. We tried exploiting, extrapolating that figure for arriving at this per capita income for the tribals. So this is a long way. I think we need to take up a lot of measures for really bridging the gaps in terms of per capita income between the tribals and then the plain people. And coming to the health indicators, sir, in fact, on the IMR front, 37, and which is to be improved even when compared to the what is at AP level and then national level. And then that MMR is relatively better when compared to the national level, but when compared to the AP, it is to be improvised, sir. And then the birth and death rates also been taken up. And in the last meeting when you reviewed, sir, you talked about replacement levels. And good promising to notice that fertility rate in case of tribals is positive in the sense that it's more than stable population that we can expect in case of the tribals, sir. So whereas the in case of plains, it is only 1.74. In case of tribal, it stands at 2.1 on par with the national average. So, and then coming to the educational indicators, sir, the gross enrollment ratio in case of the primary is good, but I was told because unlike in the plain areas, the tribal students, especially at the primary level, do not have the Aadhaar. So there is a duplication that is expected in this case. Maybe that is the reason why this GR, in case the primary in tribal areas is more compared to the plain areas. And when it comes to the secondary, it is less than the AP and more than the national average. And dropout ratio is also 1.23, sir. And in case of primary and secondary also, it is almost 17 odd so, sir. And then going to the next, these are the key projects or the activities which are taking up in the department. The coffee project is the lifeline of the tribal area, sir. In fact, impacting livelihoods of more than 1.5 lakh families, which have further scope for improvisation, thanks to the efforts of Honorable CM in making Araku coffee as an international brand. But still, a lot can be done on coffee in tribal areas, as a lot of area can be brought under cultivation apart from consolidating existing area. As on date, sir, in fact, we got 2.41 lakh acres under coffee, producing 15,000 tons of coffee. In fact, post the Honorable CM has given a clarion call to bring 1 lakh more acres under the coffee. In fact, by the end of the last year, we could really achieve that 1 lakh target also. So, but still, 50,000 more acres can be brought under this, sir. I think which will really take the income returns of the tribals to the next level, because it's not just coffee. When they grow, it is the intercrops like pepper and all adds to their income level. So this is a very promising intervention which we can really take forward in the next few years, sir. Other thing is, under recognition of Forest Act rights, compared to the other states, I think quite a good number of patas have been given, sir, to the individual forest rights have been given to almost 2.626 lakh individuals, covering 4.5 lakh. And then under community forest rights, to 5.26 lakh acres have been given. But the challenge ahead is how to increase the income returns in a sustained manner through comprehensive land development strategies, duly tying up with NRGS and Coffee Board. And other important thing is sickle cell anemia mission, sir. In fact, this is actually genetic blood disorder, which is very rampant in the tribals below 40 years. So this is to be addressed, and in fact, special mission has been constituted at the national level. So this is also a priority area that we need to take up in the years to come, sir. And on the education front, Ekalavya Model Residential Schools, sir, 28 Ekalavya Model Residential Schools on Navodaya lines have just started, sir. It's a purely Government of India initiative. Staff is recruited and positioned. So this also, I think, in the initial stage, formative stages of this, if collector can show some interest, it will be good, sir. So next 1 year, these are the targets that we set under the various wings of the tribal administration. That is education, as I said, we'll be starting a state economic monitoring unit, so that these people continue to guide and then monitor academic performance of the students down the line. And then, like what I said in the social welfare, we'll also be following the same strategy here also. Health front, sir, sickle cell screening completion. In fact, it is being done by anchored by the health department in the tribal areas. But the request is that instead of prolonging this screening for 2 years, if we can really mobilize and position enough number of kids, we'll be able to complete this screening in this current year itself. And then if the cards can be given to those people who are diagnosed with the disease and then they try it, then it will be good, sir. In fact, that really helps. In fact, without giving the cards, if we just confine to the screening, it may not serve the purpose. If the cards are given, then following some methodology, when they get really married, it will be, I think, we'll be able to give a kind of decision support kind of thing as to whether they can really marry or not. That kind of advisory support also will be able to do so. So that goes a long way in eliminating or reducing the sickle cell issue in the tribal area. And other important, in fact, as Honorable CM has given a mandate that there shall not be any dolly transportation, leave aside dolly deaths. So This to be actually monitored, feeder ambulance services are to be strengthened, and then maternity waiting halls which are already in position, they need to be activated so that no dolly deaths. In fact, connectivity LMA will be taken up under the infrastructure. IMR, MMR to be made on par with the state average. For that also, this is not a new thing we're talking about, this is a conventional, but we need to strengthen so that we bridge the gap of IMR and MMR between the plain and then the tribal areas. And livelihood front, Honorable CM keeps talking about it. It's not enough if we issue the patas. We need to really increase the income returns. So for this value chain analysis of each of the important crops like coffee, turmeric to be done, and by making appropriate interventions in the whole value chain, I think we'll be able to raise the income, or there's a huge potential of raising the income returns of the tribals. And other important initiative is that 488 VDVKs, that is Vandan Vikas Kendras, have been sanctioned, and then some places it is already in operation. Out of 488, 415 are in the plain tribal areas, and then 73 are in PVTG areas. So the purpose of this is to see that the local tribal produce is processed by giving the processing equipment support. And if the processed produce, if it can be tied up with the GCC and all, I think that way also we'll be able to raise the income returns of the tribals to a great extent. On infrastructure front, quickly, the next 1 year, below that itself, we should be able to complete the Tribal Freedom Fighters Museum, because it's very, what is priority item to Honorable PM, and then the Government of India is also continuously pursuing. And though we have operationalized EMR schools, but facilities are under construction. So 7 EMR schools facilities should be inaugurated immediately. And then 20% of unconnected habitations. We have got unconnected habitations to 3001 to be connected in this current year itself, and 20,000 of uncovered safe drinking water habitations, which amount to almost 3,859 to be covered in this financial year, year. And then under the governance, I think this is a statutory obligation that is cast on us, that we need to conduct elections to the PESA Gram Sabhas, there's a Panchayat Extend schedule areas, that Gram Sabhas we need to conduct. And then this attention that we require from the collectors flow from the milestones that we need to take up. Under the education, as I said, in the social welfare holds good here also. But here, what is requested is that non-residential special training centers are to be started in the schoolless habitations, that actually taking the support under the Samagra Shiksha. I think collectors may kindly focus wherever schools cannot be set up in 1 kilometer or 3 kilometer, 5 kilometer, the case may be, they're taking the support under NRSTC. If NRSTC can be taken up, it will be good. And then land allocation wherever it is required, that is also to be taken care of. And in fact, unlike in BC and social welfare hostels, we don't have the health supervisory post, supervisor post. So in the meeting by Honorable CM, we asked that ANMs in the Sachivalayams nearby, if they can be mapped and then made to position in these hostels, I think that will also help the students in terms of screening, and then not meeting any kind of untoward incidents. And health, I talked about sickle cell and dolly transportation, but epidemic action plan and pinpoint program is very important, because this season is a monsoon season. What is that? Epidemic outbreak is very possible, and malaria or resurgence is also possible in the current year. So the request is that epidemic action plan, which has been conventionally be practiced in the tribal areas, that is to be followed up, and pinpoint program in health are known for that, the door-to-door surveillance by the paramedical staff every house, twice in a week, that also need to be taken up. Livelihood, sir, I talked about all crop-wise value chain analysis and VDV case strengthening, and more importantly, on the lines of SC Corporation here in the tribal area, tribal department, TRICAR, I think there's a lot of fund support here also from the Government of India. We need to secure the economic support schemes to the tribal tribals also to be revived. And then elections to be conducted. I think that instructions will be issued after taking the guidance from the government. And then more importantly, in the meeting, Honorable CM Sir has given a mandate that we should be able to bridge the gap between what is that tribals and plain area people in terms of the development. So taking towards this endeavor, department started efforts, and then with the final objective of raising the tribal development index. For that, we have come up with a development of a mobile application. By 7th of this month, we'll be positioning it, and what is that forwarding to the concerned collectors and PO ITDS for capturing the 360-degree profile of the tribal habitations and households. And then using this application, surveys to be completed by 20th, because most of the information we can really retrieve by talking to the database of other departments. When it comes to the habitation level information gathering, Paderu, ITDA, collector, ESR,
and they are not here, Kannababu.
Sir, that is what, sir.
Ankappalli, ASR and Vizag are not here.
Yes, sir, I understand. Sir, yeah. Okay, sir. So the action plans are to be generated basing on the data that we're going to get from this application, and then we have to implement action plans, because it should be comprehensive at the household level and at the habitation level also. It cannot be piecemeal. It is to be done in a comprehensive manner so that every household is touched and every habitation is touched. By the click of the button, we should be able to know where exactly we are and what is the gap in the household level and at the habitation level in terms of infrastructure and other what is that human development and socio-economic development indices pertaining to the households. So this is from our side, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Then